Okay, this is about a minute-long clip from Nick Fuentes where he talks about a potential compromise, sort of what could be a winning political coalition. I agree with his basic point for sure. We'll play this here, and then I'll give my commentary as well.
And here's where we're going to have to give. This is going to be the compromise. Very simple. The left has to give up immigration. That's simple. The left is going to have to give up. Look, we can have equity and we can have equality in the country. We can have civil rights. We can have all those things. But we have to close the damn borders. We have to close it. Too many illegal immigrants. Too many legal immigrants. That has to be the compromise.
Look, if the left actually figured out a way to do that, it's not complicated, but if they actually decided to do that, I think that would be this I would say is the biggest vulnerability right now for MAGA and the Republican Party. I'm definitely a huge fan of Trump and MAGA, but if the left would let go of this ridiculous policy or just this total soft on border crossings, on illegal immigration, and I would even add here, he didn't say this, but if they could just park all the woke crap as well, and then they can do all their leftist economic policies, which I don't really agree with. But if they did that, they would have, I think, a much better time. And I think Nick makes a good point here that both parties should agree on immigration.
The left has to give on immigration and the right has to give on the free market. If the right can come down on healthcare and on a social safety net and maybe on some subsidies for education, and if the left can come down on the anti-white open border stuff and they can agree that we have a country, that party will win 90% of the vote and rule for a century. That's the compromise.
Look, I would actually argue what he described there is kind of already MAGA. I don't think MAGA's economic policies definitely are as libertarian as maybe a Rand Paul would want. I mean, Exhibit A, the tariffs. But I just think if the left, I'm not saying what Nick said there, I totally agree with, but I'm kind of changing it to if the left could drop the immigration argument and just concede to the right that, yes, a very, very secure, I don't know if the left is going to do this though, because the optics of it, right? When you have to actually go and deport people, or even just be enforcing the border strongly, it's not always going to be totally clean, and you might have some, like a tough look on camera every once in a while. So for that reason, I still think MAGA and the Republican Party is in a strong position heading into 2028. But I mean, again, I'm changing kind of what he said. I think the biggest vulnerability there is for MAGA is if the left, kind of like what Mamdani did. I know Mamdani, I think he's pretty woke, but when I hear him talk, he keeps coming back to New York City affordability. If the left can just cut out the woke stuff and all the dumb virtue signaling and then be more strict on immigration, I think then it becomes kind of more of a real competitor. Luckily, though, for MAGA, in my humble opinion, I don't think that's going to happen. I think the person in 2028 is going to lean in to the woke stuff. But anyway, what do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And I'm being a little charitable to Nick in the sense of the free market point. I don't know exactly what he means by that. I'm certainly very pro-capitalist, but I do think that this is too long of a conversation to have here, but just in summary, you've got an economy that gets bailed out a lot of times. Wealthy people benefit from that. You have an economy that's very heavily skewed right now to tech, and that'll probably only continue with the emergence of AI. So you've got a lot of people with like an affinity for computers doing great in the economy, not necessarily everybody else, but it's a long conversation. I just think that the left could capitalize on that, on economic anxiety. And just like Zoran kind of said, I'm not saying, by the way, I agree with this, but just free stuff, rent controls, blah, blah, blah. And if they just got rid of some of the culture war and immigration stuff. Anyway, I think you got my point, but I'll finish the video there. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Have a great day.